What's up guys, today's video we're going to be adding these 2-inch fork cap extensions to our +6 fork tubes. These are 29.5 inches, and which means it is a +6 for the M8 Softails. Their OEM fork tube length is 23.5. We weren't able to find a set of +8 in stock, so we kind of made our own. And this was great because we were able to see if the +6 was going to be more than enough, or if the +8 was going to be the range that we wanted. And then in turn down the line we're going to order a set of 31.5 inch titanium nitride coated fork tubes. The benefit of us having to build our +8 was we were able to see both the +6 and the +8 before spending the $700 on a set of titanium nitride fork tubes, because nothing worse would be to drop the $700 and then be like, oh man, +8 is crazy high. You could lift your fork tubes up in your triple tree, but then you're going to have the 2-inch of excess up on top, and that may not be what you're wanting aesthetically for your bike. So this is a great way to see. CycleVisions did provide instructions here. This says do not remove stock preload spacer. So you're going to be adding a second spacer. It's going to be hard to see because it's all blown out. You're going to be adding a second spacer, which is this other one, on top of your stock spacer. I'm not too sure how I feel about that. You could probably just cut a longer PVC pipe, which is what we may end up doing. There is a metal tube in here already that came with our Progressive HD springs that we'll see if we can find another one. That way we just have one versus two. Granted, there's not much room for them to kind of sandwich and pivot all in there, but again, it's two different pieces that I would prefer not to have together versus just one long piece. So it's just showing you what to do. So yeah, so it's gonna go like this. So that's what it was. So to prevent it from falling inside of whatever you have in there, stock preload spacer, you're going to place washer. You're going to be placing this washer on top of what you have already inside your fork tubes, and this is basically going to be an additional spacer. So you're making it, but still, nevertheless, I'd much prefer one longer piece versus the two. If you want to go ahead and remove your fork cap, the best way to do this, it is more work, but it's easier in the long run, is if you remove your caliper, you remove your front wheel, you take out each tube independently, so that way you can remove the fork cap. But we are going to remove the fork cap. Since we have +6, what we have in there currently, it's not great. I'm not going to jinx it. Let me do this first. Now you want to be mindful of this because it is under tension. Okay, so this is why I did it on the bike, was because what we have in there currently with the +6, our spacer that we have in there, it basically just sits right underneath the cap. Now before we go too crazy and start adding stuff in there, this is the spacer that we have in there currently. It's a little metal piece. So I just want to make sure that this washer doesn't fall in, and it's going to be pretty close. I mean, like, I just want to make, because that's a little sketch to me, because it's like very much on the edge. So altogether, these two is 8 inches. But before we drop them in there, we are going to put the 2-inch over extension. I'm just going to thread it on there by hand. All the threads are good. Nothing's been crushed. It looks good on both ends. The only downside to this one that I'm seeing, as compared to some of the other ones, some of these fork cap extensions, they have it to where they're all one piece, and they have something like the Speed Merchant preload adjusters where you can use a wrench for it to tighten it. This one's basically just going to be by hand, or if you have some sort of vice grips, which is the downside I'm seeing. So it's felt like it bottomed out. So that's how that is. So we have our stock one, which is just barely fits. Okay. And then we put that one in there. And so what that looks like, the additional spacer, there's that washer that's right on there, which this inside diameter is a little smaller than what the standard fork tube one is, which is nice, it's a little comforting. And then you put that on top. So we have our OEM spacer right here. Then we have the fork cap extension right here at the triple tree. We have the washer, and then we have the PVC one on top. And after that, your stock fork cap. And once you finish one side, you repeat the process. And whenever you do this, be mindful of your brake line. Make sure that you have enough brake line for the +2. If you're already tight enough at whatever height you are, you may just want to order a brake line that's 2 inches longer. That way you don't have to set it up and be like, oh man, my brake line, now I need to change it or get it. I need to wait for a new brake line. And then you can be rocking and rolling. And that's not something extra you have to wait on. Put that on top. It's gonna be pretty close to that now. There it is. Same thing with the other side. Now you're gonna wanna loosen up your pinch bolts here on the side in order to let the bike lift or drop. But there we have it, the 2-inch extensions from CycleVision. So now we're at a +8. This is now a 31.5-inch fork tube. We're gonna go ahead and drop it. +8. Our fork line, our brake line is still very good at 52 inches. And now we're gonna drop it. That front wheel's already touching Jesus. Oh, that is sketch, dude. So now we're gonna, but that is the fucking Dyna-Lean, bro. That's how our Dyna looked. That's basically what we were looking for. Had we kept the stock shock, this would be crazy. This would not be doable.
Letting you